Today's video is brought to you by Assiniboia Downs Gaming and Event Center. Be sure to tune into this channel live Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Monday Night Lights, hosted by Trust the Profits.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Pick 5 Players Show. I'm your host, Michael Pellerin, a.k.a. Horse Guy Mike. And today we're going over Saturday's card at Saratoga, August 5th. We have 3 Grade 1s. This is a gigantic card headlined by a couple superstars in the making, one established superstar that we're all excited to see come back. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Leg Pick 5 is going to be running through race number 8 through race 12. So let's start off with leg number 1, race 8. This is the Grade 1 test, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for fillies, for 3-year-old fillies. I'm really excited. We got 2 big stars racing here. The number 1, Pretty Mischievous. She was your Kentucky Oaks winner. She came back to win that Acorn Stakes at Belmont on the Belmont undercard for Belmont Stakes Day. And then the other big superstar we have here is the number 8, Maple Leaf Mel. 2 really good horses here. I'm going to go with Maple Leaf Mel as my single. I love Pretty Mischievous. I had her in the Kentucky Oaks as one of my top choices. I absolutely had her in the Acorn. But I think the sprinting distance that we're going to get here is going to be more suited to Maple Leaf Mel. She absolutely fires out of the gate like a cannon, and you're getting hopefully a better price. Morning line has Pretty Mischievous at 9-5, Maple Leaf Mel at 2-1. We'll see if that holds. I think the public will put a lot of emphasis on Pretty Mischievous's Oaks win and Acorn win, and Maple Leaf Mel might not be as much of a known commodity. So hopefully we can get second choice on Maple Leaf Mel. I think, if you're looking at her past performances, she's never had a horse in front of her. She's never been passed, never had to be behind horses. So if she can get out of the gate quick, I think she'll go gate to wire pretty easily here at the sprinting distance. If this was a little bit longer, I think Pretty Mischievous would be the one to go for, but I'm going to be singling Maple Leaf Mel here. The other one that's kind of interesting here is number 6, Darth Vader, who barely lost to Pretty Mischievous last out. Again, if this was a route race, I might be tempted to go with Darth Vader over Pretty Mischievous, considering the price differential that you're going to be getting there for last out. Fairly similar performance. So Darth Vader, if you like Pretty Mischievous, you got to look at Darth Vader. Munning Scold's also in this race. Not one that I'm going to be looking at. I think she's had a couple of chances to prove herself against winners and Greatest Stakes Company. Hasn't really shown up. So until she replicates those early performances she had down at Gulfstream, not going to be utilizing her. And the last one that's a little bit interesting here is number 4, Jersey Pearl. She's coming off a 9-length win at Ellis Park. Had a 101 Brisnet speed figure. Absolutely wild number here. If she can replicate that at Saratoga, she's going to be right on pace with Maple Leaf Mel. I just think Maple Leaf Mel's experience in the stakes company is going to provide her a little bit more superiority here. Again, has never been behind a horse at any call. Something could happen. Maple Leaf Mel might not break out of the gate and then it's anybody's race. But I think that experience and that just go to the front style is really going to help here. So Maple Leaf Mel, ice cold single to start off this pick 5. Next up, leg number 2, race 9, the Grade 1 Saratoga Derby, going 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf for 3-year-olds. We've got a lot of really good turf courses here. We do have the Belmont Oaks winner, Aspen Grove, choosing to come here instead of the Saratoga Oaks, which is running on Friday. A little bit smaller field, good opportunities here, but Aspen Grove is one I'm going to be completely fading. I thought that last race, that Belmont Oaks, was just not good at all. The Buyer came back slow. The Brisnet came back slow. The horses she beat were pretty bad. And before that, Aspen Grove wasn't doing much over in Ireland. So going against the males, it's deep water to jump into. Absolutely a fade for me. We'll start with some of the horses I do like. The number 1, Mondigo, last out in the Belmont Derby, got 3rd, beaten by a length. High speed figures. Those top 3 finishers there, we'll talk about them. Farbridge, the Foxes, and Modengo, they were pretty close together at that end. Farbridge barely won. And Farbridge is the morning line favorite here at 2-1. Whereas Modengo, you're going to be getting 5-1 on, and their order of finish last out wasn't that significantly different. So I think you can get a little bit better value here. I'm going to be fading Farbridge. I don't think his performance in that Belmont Derby was significantly better than anyone else here, but the price differential you're going to get is going to be the big deciding factor. So I'm fading Farbridge. I have a lot of other favorites in this sequence. Maple Leaf Mel is going to be a short price. The next race is going to be a very short price. So you have to try to beat a favorite somewhere. And I think Farbridge is the most vulnerable favorite. And since I'm going so deep in this leg, if I was to go 6 deep and add Farbridge and Farbridge was to win, I would lose all value anyway. So my choice here is to just fade Farbridge, fade Aspen Grove, who I think is going to take money from that last win, and fade the €2, and then go with the American form. So Modego, coming off of that last race, hopefully can turn the tide here. Number 2, program trading, super interesting. Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt, Klarovich Stables, undefeated horse, broke its maiden, winning by 5 lengths, came back last out in an allowance, won by 2 1/4. So again, you see these Chad Brown turf horses all the time, have a huge maiden, huge allowance, bump up the stakes. Will it perform? Will it replicate that performance from that lower level? Maybe. But if I'm trying to beat the favorite here, this is one I definitely want to include. We already talked about Aspen Grove. The number 4, the franchise. This is a Euro that I do want to include. Luis Saez, Joseph O'Brien. Again, looking to beat Farbridge. I think this is one that has good form, has raced at 1 1/8, has raced in the sprint distance. So we think stretching out might do a little bit better here. This was a $309,000 purchase over in Ireland. Won its last race. They're bringing it over here. So have high hopes for the franchise to get in. Morning line on the franchise is 30-1. So not huge expectations, but I think this one at that price is worth including. We talked about Farbridge, not going to be including Farbridge. Web Slinger is one that I do want to include. Belmont Derby, again, was only a length back from Modego. So anything can happen in the style of this race. If you're fading Farbridge, but you want to go with the horses that came out of that race, Web Slinger is one of them. Web Slinger was one of my top picks for that race, coming off of back-to-back wins before that. So maybe we can just draw a line through that, even though the speed figure came back fairly fast. 97 Brisnet, Modego got a 98, Farbridge got a 99. So he's right in there in that same class, and again, getting a better price, getting 4-1 on Web Slinger. Battle of Normandy is not one that I have any interest in. Completely horrible speed figures. And then Lion of War, stepping up in class, coming over from Europe. Not one. If you're going with one of the Euros, I'm going to choose the one with a higher price. Lion of War at 8-1 is not one that I'm like super interested. It's not one that I get excited about. It's like some of the other Euros are. So if I see the 2 Euros in the franchise and Lion of War as fairly equivalent, I'm going to go with the one that's 30-1. So I'm going to take a chance on the franchise instead of Lion of War. And then the last one, Truly Quality. Irad Ortiz aboard. Irad on turf in New York, always dangerous, especially if he gets on. If he can help control the pace for the race the way he wants it to. So we'll see. Won its last race at 97 Brisnet. That's the same number that Web Slinger got. Won that race by 2 3/4 lengths. That was going 1 1/4 on the firm turf at Belmont. So distance shouldn't be a problem. Has a recent win. Gets one of the best jockeys in the country aboard. Truly Quality is one I think has a chance to pop onto the board. So these are the 5 I'm going with. Again, trying to fade Farbridge, fade Lion of War, fade Aspen Grove, hoping we can get a good price on. The next up, leg number 3, race 10, the Grade 1 Whitney going 1 8 on the dirt. Easiest handicapping in the world, and I love Cody's Wish. This horse is incredible. Been cheering for him since last year down at Tampa. I think everyone here wants to see Cody's Wish win. It's a great story. He's America's favorite horse right now. And style-wise, I think this race is going to set up for him. There are some other closers in here. Zandon's a closer, so Cody's Wish has a much better late run than Zandon. I think good chance there. I think Charge It's going to go to the lead, and Charge It ran huge last time at Belmont in the Suburban Handicap. So Charge It has a chance. Maybe Charge It goes gate to wire with no one pushing up on him. That's a good chance there, but I think Cody's Wish is going to be close enough. Cody's Wish usually comes from way back. But I think the 6-horse tight field, he knows that he can't get too far back and let them control the pace up front. So Charge It's the only other one that's a little bit interesting here. Giant Game is a complete, I don't know. They're coming from Prairie Meadows. Brisnet numbers there are way off. Got a 107 last out, which is incredible. But this is not one that I want to include here going up against Cody's Wish. Last Samurai. has been up and down all year long, has the ability to route, has won some races, has finished in the money in a number of other ones, but past its prime. And then White Barrio had the chance to face Cody's Wish in that Met Mile. Couldn't do it there. I don't think anything in his form has suggested that he's going to be able to turn the tables here. Cody's Wish should romp this field. Charge It's a little bit interesting if you're trying to beat the favorite in a gate-to-wire fashion, and Charge It's got the skills, but Charge It has burned a lot of money earlier in this year before that Suburban Handicap, where not willing to bet on him here. So Cody's Wish is my second single. So 2 singles in the first 3 legs. Next up, we're going to race number 11, leg 4. This is a 7-furlong dirt allowance for 3-year-olds and up. And we've got a number of good horses here. This is a really expensive allowance, almost $150,000 allowance. So we've got some quality horses here. First one I'm going to talk about is the number 5, Frat Pack, Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt for Peter Brandt. This horse was running in a maiden, didn't win, came back in another maiden at Belmont this year, first off of a year-long layoff. That first out was Saratoga last year. Took a year off, came back in Belmont, won impressively, 93 Brisnet, won by 5.5 lengths. So Frat Pack, really impressive, going 6.5. That was in the slop. You have to assume, it's going to get a little bit better in the faster. So if we can get a fast track, Frat Pack should be set to improve. Second off layoff for Chad Brown here. Next one up, Ever So Mischievous, Brad Cox, Tyler Gaffalione. This horse has been pretty good, pretty consistent. First ever race, ran a 101 Brisnet speed figure, got second by a head, barely beat by a pretty good horse. Next out, Churchill broke its maiden pretty easily, 2.5 lengths under wraps, and then came back in an allowance at Ellis Park, got second by a head, has a good shot. That was going a mile, so maybe the cutback in distance to that 7 furlong where it broke its maiden is that sweet spot for this horse. We'll see. Is fired a bullet workout last out. Has been running consistently good workouts. Brad Cox into Mischief. I think this is an excellent combination here. So Ever So Mischievous is going to be my second choice. And then the number 9 horse, Capture the Flag. This is one with not a lot of data points on. Ran in July of last year at Saratoga. Has had over a year layoff. And in that maiden win, won by 3 lengths. So Shug sending him here. Luis Saez is aboard. I think Capture the Flag as an unknown quantity with potential could be one to get you at a big price. And Capture the Flag is going to be, which you're more than willing to Capture the Flag, 15-1. So we're going with the 2 chalks in our first 2 picks. Capture the Flag at 15-1 is definitely one we want to include here. And then the last one, Caramel Chip, just consistent, has been performing at the allowance and handicap level for a while now, putting up mid to high 90s Brisnet speed figures. Got third last out, second before that, and before that came off 4 straight wins. So this horse has ability. We'll see if they can show up. Irad's always dangerous. Irad was the one riding this horse in its wins. Luis Saez was riding last out, but switch back to Irad might be a little bit of an upgrade there, even though I think Luis Saez is still one of the best jockeys in the country. So those are the 4 horses I'm going with in leg number 4. With that said, let's move on to the final leg, leg number 5, race 12, allowance race going 1.16 on the turf. We got a couple MTOs in here. Haven't looked at the weather yet for Saturday. We've been fairly lucky recently with the rain at Saratoga holding off, but we'll see how it goes for that day. Again, as always, if the MTOs draw in, you want to look at them, but we're going to be talking about assuming this stays on the turf. So we've got 4 horses here. The first horse that we have is the number 4 horse, and that's going to be My Sea Cottage. I love the E8 style of this horse. This is a gate-to-wire style horse. Last out in an allowance. Did its thing. Went gate-to-wire at Saratoga, going a mile, so stretching out a little bit. See if it can hold that style, going a little bit longer, and you're going to get 8-1 on this horse. So My Sea Cottage. Love the style there. Next one, right underneath it, the number 5 horse, What Say Thee? Tyler Gaffalione. And always love Gaff on turf in these like kind of mid-level runners. What Say Thee is 15-1. Had a good race last out. Got an 86 Brisnet. Lost to another horse in this race who I like, and that's the number 7 Dracon. So I'm including Dracon and What Say Thee, both from that race, hoping that one of them is able to get home. Both of them at big prices. Dracon 15-1. What's Say the 15-1. So that 7th furlong turf sprint at Belmont. Let's see if that race can translate into wins here. And then the last one I'm going to be including is the number 10, Al's Rocket. Al's Rocket came back in an allowance at Belmont, got 3rd, beat a couple other horses in this race, some of the ones I didn't select. So went a mile in that race, stretching out a little bit. 2 back, it went a mile in the 16th at Aqueduct in November. That was its last race of the year last year. Got beat, but still put up a pretty respectable speed figure. Most of the speed figures for these horses are around the mid to high 80s. So Al's Rocket, Irad, Todd Pletcher, throwing up at 90, 2 races back, throwing up at 85 last out. Definitely one we want to be including in Al's Rocket. It's going to be 4-1 here. So I'm going to be fading the favorite, and that's the number 1, the 1 horse Shutters. There wasn't anything I saw in this horse's form that really stood out to me. And again, we're going short with Cody's Wish. We're going short with Maple Leaf Mel. Even in the last race, we have the 2 favorites there. So hoping to catch a price in the last race. Not a lot of other value. This race could go anyway. Dancing with the Stars is one that had really high speed figures earlier in its career, hasn't really been able to replicate it lately, and has been having a case of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So same thing with the Shutters. Was trained by Chad Brown beforehand, came back first with Mark Henning in that last race, got 4th. So maybe 2nd with the trainer switch is an angle here. But you always want to try to beat a favorite that you're not in love with. And since I'm not in love with this horse, I'm just going to leave it off completely. So that's going to be the way I'm structuring my ticket. We're looking at this here. We're singling the 8. That's Maple Leaf Mel. In race number 9, we're going with the 1, 2, 4, 6, 9. Race number 10, we're going with the 5, 7, 9, 10. Race number 12, we're going 4, 5, 7, 10. That's going to be a $40 ticket on a 50-cent base payout. Let me know in the comments who your top choice is. Do you think Cody's Witch is vulnerable? Do you think Maple Leaf Mel will be able to beat Pretty Mischievous? Who's your other best bet on this card? Go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to Trust the Profits. Follow me on Twitter at HorseGuyMike, and let me know how everything goes. Best of luck to everyone this weekend at Saratoga. Love seeing these grade 1s. Hopefully we can stay on the turf. Get a good day betting for everyone. Good luck. Take care.